So as we start looking into layout, what I want you guys to do is I want you to take this information and I want to see it organized on your document. Doing simple black and white, and if you feel like this is too easy, a little bit simple for you, please go ahead and start elaborating. If you want to put a background color in, I would really stick though with utilizing just text on a background. I would not start putting roses and kittens and birthday cakes and such on there unless you were tremendously bored. Which you probably should not have enough time to be tremendously bored, okay? So with that, I just started off with a normal letter-sized document. You will notice that my screen is now going to look a little different than yours. So I do want you to be aware of that. I want you to understand that the functions are still the same. I just might have a slightly different look than what your version of Illustrator is at this moment in time, okay? So the first thing I would recommend is writing out your information in separate text boxes. That would be my number one. If you type all of this in one text box and just like press the enter key in between, you're going to run into some problems where you're going to get frustrated, and you want to be really, really thoughtful about that. So you can start off organizing and saying, okay, this is what I want first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, or you could just so simply start off with putting things into text boxes, okay? So right over here on my left toolbar, I'm going to go over to my type tool. You can go ahead in there. There we go. I'm having some struggles today. Let's see what's going on there. Sorry guys, I'm running through some struggles at the moment. Not really sure what's going on, but all right, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start typing in there 1, 2, 3, Major Highway Avenue. Okay, my text is really small, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight it. You can go ahead and change your information. Yours was coming up on the top. Mine is starting to come in over here on the side. Again, adjust accordingly. We're going to go ahead and, well, let's just say I'm going to go ahead to a standard font, but I'm going to go ahead and make it bigger. Definitely, I want you guys to be able to see that. Don't forget you can click on the arrows to make it larger, but you can also type in a specific number if you know that that's where you need to be. If you do the drop down, you'll see you'll only go up to 72 point. Please know that you can go all the way up to, I want to say it's like 300 or 400 point, possibly even higher. So you guys don't have to worry about not gathering the information. So, all right, so we have that one. So that text box is done. I can go ahead and type another one, and I can start off with the phone number. Let's say the format I would like, let's say I want to put periods instead of spaces or dashes. That is absolutely up to you. But now what I have, it's really great because now I can manipulate these things individually instead of them being all part of the same family of text boxes. So those can be moved and adjusted accordingly, okay? I can also work on how I'm going to lay out these pieces. And remember, when you're coming in through here, you want to utilize those pink lines, those kind of magenta pink lines. Those will help you see when things are lining up in certain ways and spaces. So definitely keep that in mind as you are working, okay? So again, I'm going to come through. Maybe I just start putting those things out. I can come through and start typing my others. But as I start getting to those that are going to be more important when we're talking about hierarchy, like this one right here, you're invited to John's surprise birthday. Right now, it's left justified, which means everything's lining up on here. I can change that. I can go ahead and highlight that out, and I can change that very nicely in my alignment. Yours will likely be up here on this top menu. You will see the same alignment patterns that I have. I can go ahead and center that if I want. Now, I also want to find fonts that work well together. So those are some very important factors as we're considering what's going to look good with something else. So for example, let's say I decide this is a really great font. I really want that to be my starting point. I'm going to go ahead and bring that size up and really kind of study it. And I'm going to go ahead to my move tool. I find that that's going to be one of the most important factors, so that's what I'm going to want to put first. I'm sorry I can't nudge this over anymore. Oh, there we go. All right. That's what I'm going to put first. I want to be sure I can read it. I want to make sure that that gives a proper amount of attention. With this one, I have to decide, how is that looking? Do I like the way that that looks? Well, this is a little bit more like handwritten and very delicate. This one is definitely more manufactured and a little heavier of a font. So if this one I'm really, really married to, I'm going to have to look and see other things that will work. So for example, this one right here, this has a similar delicacy. It's a very small, very thin font, but it's no longer bold. So now I can have that as a support that will kind of pull some of those lettering qualities together. So that's an example of what you could potentially use. Now you could also highlight it, click just on the word, and use your arrows to just one at a time. And you have to have the word highlighted, and then you have to have the character highlighted. So again, yours will be up here. Okay? So I can continue going through here until I find, like, you know, like horrible choice. They're too fussy together. That's like having two very high maintenance people in a relationship. It's going to be a real battle at times. You know, that one's even more fussy. So you do want to make sure that you're balancing that. But you also want to make sure that you are taking some time to look at the weight of the font, including the size, because Accidental Presidency at a 36 point is very different than some of these other ones. Like right here, that's the same exact size of font. It all has to do with the amount of space the programmer has put in for that font. So it's really important to realize you may have to change your font size after you pick your font. So don't be married to this number. Be married to the visual impact of that number. Okay? So those are things I want you to consider as you're starting to take a look at how you're going to lay it out. Like this right here would be really very poor. I have 3 fonts which are way too confusing. On this, you're going to need no more than 2. It's such a small amount of information. It's also really, really close to each other. And I have a whole mixture of font styles which are very confusing. I'm also missing information, so I need to make sure that I am putting, okay, my RSVP is going to go next. The phone number should probably go underneath that. I don't need this yet. I need the date somewhere up here so that they understand where to go. Okay, so then maybe I'm going to make this a little bit different. I need to run back and forth through these options in order to make everything go a little bit more, let's go here. In order to make everything go a little bit more smoothly, okay? So if I grab all of those boxes, I can go to Object. I can, trying to make sure that I can get to the right place. Everything has changed on me. Here we go. Now that I clicked on all of them, I drew a little box around them. I get this little alignment here. Again, yours will likely be up here. The alignment will help you grab those items and align them basically according to what it is you would like here. So if I want to align them on the left, their boxes will all be aligned on the left. This would be a horizontal right. You can see kind of how each thing changes things very much so. So it is really important that you guys are aware that those are options that exist. Let me move these apart again. And again, play around with it. I would suggest no more than 2 fonts. I would really look at the use of your font size. There's also a couple other areas in here that I want you to be aware of. For example, this. Let me make this a little bit bigger. This right here will have to do with the spacing in between your lines. This is a 95 point spacing. Definitely way too far apart. It's not very happy. It's not very good for this particular font. That's on auto. But I could say, you know what? I understand auto. I still don't like what it did to that. I want to make it right here. And make sure you zoom in to make sure that things like your exclamation points and your apostrophes are not touching something above or below it unnecessarily. Okay? I can also start to work on my, right here where I'm stretching those letters out. Maybe I need to fill up a space. Maybe I feel it's too cluttered. So really start thinking about that. I have kerning. Oh, I'm not going to be able to use that one on here. But again, these are things I want you to be studying as you guys are moving and manipulating this amount of information onto this page. Everyone has the same amount of information. So what I want to do is I want to be able to show them to you. I want you to be able to look and see what your classmates have done so that you can make decisions as to how you feel you performed, and what it is you need to work on, or what it is you did really well, so that you could be much more successful at this. So that is pretty much where we are at the moment. And I want you to continue working on utilizing your character panel, your paragraph alignment, as well as your fonts, adding types in, and just kind of having a lot of fun with it. Okay? And that's it.